I am firmly convinced at this point that Attorney General Pam Bondi has some kind of humiliation kink, right? Like the kind of person that derives some kind of excitement from the thought of being publicly humiliated and embarrassed and shamed. And for the record, there's nothing wrong with that if that is what you're into. But I think Pam Bondi doesn't even know that she has this humiliation kink. And here's why. As I'm sure everybody is aware, the DOJ proudly announced that they arrested some of those darn agitators, including a civil rights lawyer by the name of Nakima Armstrong. But they arrested them because they went into a church in Minnesota this past Sunday where the pastor happened to be an ICE official, and they interrupted the church service and then left. No violence, nothing broken. They weren't trespassing because, I don't know if you know this, you're allowed to go into a church. So they were arrested by federal officials, and yes, that of course is important. Hauled away. The White House, of course, doctored the image to make it look like she was sobbing when in fact she was just almost smirking in the arrest photo. And in fact, her lawyer had actually offered to just have her surrender when they announced that they had a warrant for her arrest, but they insisted, no, we're going to make a spectacle of it. We're going to go and get her. So all of this was purely intentional. White House doctors the photo, which right away actually taints any potential jury pool. So all of this is going to fall apart for Pam Bondi in the most humiliating way possible, to the point where I think this is going to be the last straw for Donald Trump. This will be the humiliation of Pam Bondi that finally gets her fired, because there is no way in hell a jury is going to convict any of these people. In fact, we may be looking at a situation like what we saw with Don Lemon on that same day, where the magistrate judge was like, I'm not even going to do this. I'm not even going to approve these charges. Dismissed. Because the administration insisted that Pam Bondi charge Don Lemon for somehow encouraging the people to go into the church. And the judge was like, this isn't a crime, not going to happen. So that was Pam Bondi's first humiliation a day and a half ago. And she's going to have another one when hopefully the exact same judge looks at these charges and says, what did these people do that was illegal? What did these people do that was a federal crime? They went into a church and yelled. I don't know if you've ever been to a church down here in the South. That's kind of what church is for some denominations down here in the South, getting up on stage and yelling, and people in the audience yelling. And, unless you're Catholic, like I kind of am, was, whatever, then it's very somber and solemn and depressing, but not illegal. Being inside of a church during a church service is not trespassing. So there is no crime, local, state, or federal, that these individuals committed. Now, on the local level, you may be able to get them for like disturbing the peace or something like that, a little misdemeanor, but certainly not a federal crime. So these charges are going to be dismissed. And if for some strange reason they're not, it's going to go in front of a jury. The lawyers are going to be able to show the doctored photo that the White House put out. They're going to be able to show that no crime was committed, that they wanted to make a spectacle because they refused the offer to turn themselves in. And it's going to be a jury coming back in like 2 minutes of deliberation saying, nope, not guilty. And this, I believe, will be the final nail in the coffin of Pam Bondi's career. Donald Trump will tolerate so much if you are loyal to him. But there does come a point, and I believe Pam Bondi is hitting that point, where even Trump says, I know you're loyal, but you're also the biggest failure of this entire administration of failures, and it's time for you to go, Pam. That moment